Hello everyone, and welcome back to 4 Kilobyte Shorts Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program with Kerbal Space Adventures. Last we left off, we found the face of Duna. It was a wonderful time. Now, I did have some people ask me why I did not climb about the face of Duna as if it were a jungle gym, and the simple reason for that is because, of course, I was showing the face of Duna a little bit of respect. I know it sounds really odd for a game object, but it took us so long to find it, and it was so hard to find it. And I feel that if we were to find the face of like Mars, like actually find a face on Mars, it would be too awesome to walk around on. So I thought the Kerbals might feel the same way, and I did. So there it is. Now, as you can see, this we have a vessel loaded. Let's go ahead and just jump up. Now, this is what we're taking to pick up our intrepid adventurers. I have tried to build a ship that can get off of Duna. This little guy right here can actually almost get into orbit around Kerbin, which means that it will be able to get into orbit around Duna once it lands without a problem. The only downside is, of course, it has only 4 parachutes on it. It makes me kind of worried. But if we do 4 parachutes plus the engines, we should have enough thrust to keep it from hitting the ground too hard, I hope. Our Kerbals are still by the face of Duna. I was going to try to move them away from it to a flatter area, or even back down to the original Duna base Alpha. However, I decided that that was not the best idea, if only because the rover was so unstable getting to the face. Going all the way back would have taken me another 6 hours and just been insanity. So we're not going to do that. Now, what will happen is this whole thing, all one big piece, will go all the way to Duna, and it has enough thrust. If you take a look at Kerbal Engineer here, we have 7,900 meters per second with all this, and then it's 3,039 for the top bit, which, like I said, can get almost into orbit. It was a little bit higher before, but with the extra dish on here and everything else, it went down a little bit. But 3,039 should be enough, I believe, to get into orbit around Duna, and then hopefully into a rendezvous with the ship. Now, as you can see, this is just a hitchhiker module. It's the lightest capsule that can hold 3 crew members. Now, I thought about going with just the 1 capsule. However, I put a mechanical brain on top. And now that I think about it, how heavy is that mechanical brain? 0.5. So if we say 0.5, and this is like 0.5 itself as well, take a look really quick, because I was trying to minimize the amount of weight that we took with us. Ooh, come on, game, you can do it. There you go. I don't know the games. So yeah, 0.5 and 2.5 makes it 3, and the lightest vehicle is the 3-man pod, and that's 4. So, you know, we save a ton here and there. We have enough food in here to actually last an entire round trip. I've used these 3 canisters before. It goes an entire round trip from Kerbin to Duna and back again, and it has like a year left. With 3 Kerbals, it has a year left afterwards, so these 3 are more than enough to get there. It is, of course, unmanned on the way there, but it will be manned on the way back. So this piece detaches, as you guys know. It detaches, heads down to Duna, and then the rest of this comes all the way back to Kerbin, and then from there we can bring our adventurers home. Now, because we do have deadly re-entry, we have to leave them in orbit and then go up and get them. This is not rated to come back into Kerbin atmosphere, but that's okay. That is okay. We don't need it to be. We want it to be as light as possible, and just bringing up a ship into orbit to bring them home is perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get this to Duna. There's no reason to do all the flight stuff. I've already gotten one of these into orbit and have started its flight out to Duna. So I'm going to get it to Duna, and then at Duna we'll get into an orbit. It's going to be an oddball orbit, but we're going to get into an orbit that will allow us to detach this and drop it somewhere near our compatriots, and then from there we're going to bring them back up and then get them all the way back home, hopefully, and then of course from there back down to Kerbin. And once that's done, awesome stuff is coming next. So I will see you guys over there at Duna. So yeah, I'll see you guys over there. Alright everyone, here we are. Now, if I did this right, we should be able to bring our periapsis down and get into Duna orbit. So what we're going to do is we're just going to disconnect, because there's nothing else to do. We're going to go ahead and disconnect the top ship, and once we unstage lock, there it is. Alright, and then this is the one that we want. Now, this is covered in RTGs, and it has a satellite system on it, so that it will function. Now we should be able to, there it is, turn the ship. I was waiting for it. I was like, wait, what's happening? Alright. Now, I do realize it's dark. I do apologize, but we have to do this from this side of the planet so that our burn-in can be as efficient as possible. Alright, now this can cause some problems. I've had this cause problems in the past, so we're going to add a few of these, and we want to, there we go, and get rid of those now. It's kind of loud in my ears. Get rid of those. Alright, so now what we want to do is we just want to burn away from our orbit. That's that way. That is really loud, isn't it? I'll go ahead and back that up a little bit. Maybe just turn it down in my headset since I can alter the audio for you guys. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be. Okay, we missed. We're fine. Okay, we missed. We're fine. We're good. All right. So what we want is we want orbital information more than anything else, and what we just want to do is we want to bring down our orbit. Now, atmosphere kicks in at about 2900, so we want where we're going is on the exact opposite side of the planet. So we want to come in lower than that, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to bring our periapsis down to zero, and that should bring us in close enough. If not, we can make some adjustments, but 0 it is for now. There it is, 0. You know, a little bit under 0, but close enough. All right, we'll tee up. Now this thing only has a mechanical brain controlling it. It doesn't have much else, so we don't have the option. There's a ship going that way. We don't have the option of. Oh, that's the disconnect ring, right? I'm like, what is that second thing there? Anyway, so we don't have the option of what's the word I'm looking for? In any case, we're coming in shallow on purpose. We're coming in shallow on purpose. Oh, right, it doesn't have an SAS unit, so we have to be cautious with how we maneuver. If we maneuver too much or too little, or if we come into a position where we can't maneuver, the SAS unit will not be able to pull us into the right position, and bad things will happen. Otherwise, we should be fine. What I think we're going to do, though, is, you know what I didn't do, and I should do now that we're up here? Let's go ahead and bring time back to normal. And instead of these opening at 500 meters, we're actually going to have them open at 1500 meters off the ground. That's 3 times the height, and the reason why is because we want the ship to, well, let's see, let's say 1,000. Well, 1,050, I guess. So we're going to do 1,500 and 1,050. Now, what that'll do is that'll stagger the parachutes so the ship won't rip in half. I didn't put anything like quantum struts or anything on here. So there's the possibility the ship may still rip in 2. If that happens, we'll have to bring another one out. In which case, that'll be fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to come in now. As I said, where we're landing, we're going to be missing the base. We were coming in basically right over the top of the canyon, which is great. The downside is that we're going to be missing the base just slightly. We're going to be east of the base, I believe, from our orbit. So we're going to have that. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring us down low enough at our 0 marker. Now, our 0 marker is actually right over the top, or somewhere, you know, I eyeballed it, but it's supposed to be right over the top, or very near to right over the top. The lander itself, like the rover. And even if it's not, we can drive the rover. That's right. You know, wherever we land this thing, we can drive the rover. I was just hoping to get as close as possible so that we wouldn't have to drive. You know, I wouldn't have to drive. I wouldn't have to drive the rover all the way around the planet to find our landing, because we could land anywhere. Anywhere we wanted to land, we can land, as long as we could intercept the ship on the way back up. Now, which we can. It's at a very funny angle, but we can absolutely. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm trying to fight this thing a little bit. There you go. So I have a little bit of control. Now I want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up while we're coming down about remote tech. As you can see, it says that we're connected, but our antenna isn't extended. Now the reason why is because I altered remote tech to do something that I thought it should do by default. And what that is I've altered all of these antennae here, all these big guys, to be passive array antennas. Now I found that that's kind of buggy in career mode. If you try to transmit data in career mode with these, with remote tech on, they won't work. Remote tech, unfortunately, does not recognize them as transmittable for some reason. I don't know why, it just doesn't. But you don't have to connect them. So if we like right click, as you can see, deactivated. Oh, deactivated, excuse me. It's operational. It's got 90 millimeters. It is still connected to Kerbin. It absolutely is. So we don't have to worry about it breaking off in the... Oh, I had to come down right over a mountain, didn't I? Had to come down right over the top of a mountain, didn't I? I do hope that mountain isn't that tall. Okay, so there's that. There's a mountain coming up. Please don't be any higher than our lowest. Olympus Mons, or the equivalent thereof, right here on Duna, ladies and gentlemen. Scary stuff. We'll have to see. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, they're connected passively, so you can't transmit data. It doesn't work if you try to transmit data, but since we don't have to transmit data, we have ourselves a little bit of a bonus in the fact that we have this this hard-coded long-range antennae dish that can connect to any dish within range. I like it that way. I know a lot of people may think it's cheaty, but I personally enjoy it that way more than any other. because it seems more appropriate. It seems more appropriate to me. But that's just me. Everybody else may have their own views and opinions. That's mine. I like it that way. It requires me to perform less management, I guess you can say. I don't have to manage it quite so much. Excuse me. And so because of that, I enjoy it more. I enjoy it more. So it looks like we may have missed our marker. I'm not sure by how far. I think what we'll do is we will. How far are we out? Oh, surface information. Altitude over terrain is 4,800 meters. Now that will change according to the hills and bumps, and we are going to actually kind of hit in this-ish area, I think. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring our speed's actually dropping really fast. I like this. This is actually really nice. I think we're a little bit farther north than I meant to be, though. So I think I brought my periapsis down a little heavy. But if we're lucky, maybe we get lucky. Alright, so let's go ahead and open those. Alright, so they're going to start slowing us down. We will ignite our thrusters just for the purposes of not tearing our parachutes off. Because again, those will open up at 15 and 10, not 5. And in this low atmosphere, I want to make sure that we don't rip our ship in half. Alright. 250 should be fine. Here it comes. 2 should open there. Okay, that slowed us way down. And the other 2 should open at about 1,000 meters and finish the job. And that's a really interesting way. If you guys ever want to bring something down on Duna with with parachutes, I found that staggering a parachute, the way your parachutes open, is a lot less destructive to the ship than letting all of your parachutes open simultaneously, as you can see. Now, depending on how hard we're going to hit the ground, we could burn a little bit more fuel. Our actual fuel consumption gives us 2875. That should be more than enough to get us into orbit, even if it doesn't get us to our destination. I'm hoping that it does. I'm hoping that it does, because we can't fiddle around in orbit too much. All we have are 4 command seats. That's it. We don't even we don't have anything else. We have 4 command seats, and that's it. Although if I thought about it for symmetry purposes, I probably should have just brought 3 command seats. But you know, whichever works. So we're coming down nice and gentle, I hope. If not, you know, if we don't come down too gentle, I'll do a little bit of a burst before we hit the ground. Yeah. Now, remember, line of sight is still a big thing here. So if I'm not connected, if Kerbin is not technically directly above us on this side of the planet, or if our ship goes to the other side of the planet before I can get here, that will still say disconnected. It doesn't magically pass through planets. That would be pointless. That's actually what I really like about it. Is it still has trouble going through planets. So if it suddenly goes over the hill and we end up in a valley, we could easily lose our connection to our other ship. So it looks like we're coming down at about 12 meters per second at 100 meters. So let's go ahead and do that. We're just going to burn a little bit of delta V, just for safety purposes, so we don't break anything. All right. And down. Okay, it looks like we're down. Let's take a quick look at F3, separation and liftoff, which means we did not break anything. Now we are going to take a quick look at our map to see how far away we are. Yeah, as you can see, one of our comsats is still in orbit, and that was connecting us to Kerbin. So that's how that one worked. That's exactly how that one worked. And we are much farther north than I had originally anticipated. Wow, much farther north. So it looks like we have another road trip on our hands. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do that off camera. I'm going to have to do the road trip off camera. Safety concerns, things like that. But I'll keep you guys updated just in case something weird happens. But it looks like we're going to have to go over the hill and then up and across like that. And that's going to be super fun. That's like 3 times the distance we had to travel to get to the Duna base Alpha. And this is extremely rough terrain. So this is going to be really fun. But we did land, which is great. And then this is the orbit of our return ship. As you can see, Duna return ship. So we're going to drive up here. We're going to then try to, by that time, orbit may have gone this way, so we're going to probably wait until we get around the other side and then take off. And that'll mean heading north. And then we're going to head and we're going to try to intercept the Duna return ship, and then from there we're going to take our little guys home. So I will get to getting, when it comes to the rover, well, you know what, I guess I could. Yeah, no, it takes too long to switch. I was going to switch vessels in here, but it takes too long to switch, and we'll worry about that later. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and go do that, so I'll see you guys after the break, hopefully when we're driving up to meet our little friend here, which will be a lot easier to find than the face, because it'll have a marker. We can be like, this is our target, let's go, and that will be super great. So I'll see you guys right after the break. Alright, everybody, we had a bit of a problem here along the way. We're getting very close to our destination, 57.7 kilometers, which is 85 kilometers, oh, exactly 85 kilometers away from our initial destination. But as you can see, we had a little bit of a tumble, and we lost one of our lights, one of our solar panels, and our water container. Our water container is gone. That actually leaves our Kerbals with about 1 day's worth of water left in the main container. Like in the rest of the ship, they have about 1 day for the three of them. Or so Kerbal, the life support system, says right here. As you can see, 629 days of food and oxygen, but only 1 day of water remaining. And unfortunately, we're going that. Luckily, everything is here. The downside, of course, being that our little Kerbal friends are going to have a little bit of trouble if we can't get to our destination and then get up into space within that day. Now, we made pretty good time. It only takes like about 4 hours time to get across the different places, but and well, of course, it takes a little bit longer if if your ship starts to get away from you. Anyway, it doesn't take very long to get to your destination, to get to our destination, but we did have a little bit of a flip and a little bit of a tumble, and that puts us, well, on a time schedule now, I suppose. But we're 57.7 kilometers away. This is the first thing that has happened this entire time, actually. All the way up to here, everything was going just great, but then suddenly we just flipped over and tumbled down, and then when we got to here, we were, parts and pieces flipped and flopped about. So we're leaving a little bit of debris behind, unfortunately. But what we're going to do is we're going to continue on our way to our destination, and hopefully nothing else bad happens and we don't lose any other very essential parts. And maybe if we're lucky that we'll have brought our center of mass back down towards the ground, who knows. But yeah, I'm going to continue to our destination, and I'll see you guys when we get a little bit closer. So I'll see you guys there. Alright everybody, here we are, closer to our destination. As a matter of fact, here it is. And I've taken the liberty of fast forwarding the game to the point where we would need to take off, because I figured it was better if I did that than if you guys had to sit around and watch me do that. So we're going to have Sleepy and James and Han get out, and they're going to head over here to the launch ship, and they're going to get on board, and we're going to take off. Now, I have no idea how this thing's going to fly with 3 Kerbals off center. That was, again, the last time I built this, I built it for 4 Kerbals, so I automatically decided 4 seats were better than 3. But that, of course, puts you off a little bit. Because we don't have any docking clamps, nor do we have any SAS, what I'm doing is I'm using just the Kerbal's feet to get them over here, because if I use their RCS, there's a high... Let's go ahead and kill the lights. There's a high potential chance that they may not have enough RCS when we get up there, because we'll have to transfer them between vessels. And I'd rather have all their RCS, or as much of it as possible, than missing just a teeny tiny bit and be like, that's the teeny tiny bit that you needed. So we're going to head up, and we're going to fly into an intercept. Now I'm going to have to do that mostly from the map screen, and I say that because as you can see, I don't know which way is which. I don't know which way is north. I don't know which way is which. I think north. Oh wait, I think I know. If we control from here, there you go. Alright, so that way is north. There it is. That way is north. And I think we want to head in this direction. Let's take a look at the map screen. Okay, and our target is this guy. Duna return ship. Set as target. Good. Did I not set as target? Excuse me. Did I not set as target? There he goes. Okay, so there it is. So as you can see, okay, we have a little bit of time. So we're going to fast forward a little bit further. And keep going. Keep going. We'll ignore that. There it goes. So what we're doing is we're trying to get this to here. Now this is a very inconvenient way to take off, because any kind of northern or non-equatorial takeoff takes a lot more power than an equatorial takeoff. So we want to head north and then to the right, I guess, which is over here, probably somewhere halfway in between. And since all of our engines are already on and we're ready to rock and roll, we might as well just go. So let's go ahead and throttle up. And we want to tilt in this direction, I think. Looks about proper. Now again, I said I do have to do this mostly from the map screen. Let's go ahead and throttle up even more, because from the map screen it'll show me whether or not I'm doing okay, whether or not I'm doing this right. So what we want to do is we want to take a real quick look at our apoapsis. Oops, apoapsis is going the wrong way. So we want to switch that around and go this way. Okay, that was a bad burn. But we should be okay. We should be able to correct it without too much difficulty. There you go. Yeah, this thing's wobbling really bad because it does not want to fly. Alright, and just like as close as possible would be better than not. So what I'm doing is just kind of eyeballing the line here. Because this is easier to fix now than it is later. Whoa, loud. Alright, a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And there. Okay, so we'll try to keep it just... Ooh, too much, too much, too much. Okay, so we're not going to be perfect. We're going to kind of go back and forth. But that's okay. I don't have mech jet, so I want my orbital information. Not so much vessel information at this point. 40... Really? Apoapsis sight's at 40? 45? That should put us outside the atmosphere, I hope. I think. I think. Let's go ahead and see how much delta V it takes to get up there. And that's going to be 891 out of 2023. So that should work. That should be fine. Let's go ahead and throttle up just a little bit more. We'll waste a teeny tiny bit of delta V to make sure we're above the atmosphere. Just because that is how we do. And that should give us enough delta V to get out there and ready to go. Now again, I am doing this from the map screen because it's easier to eyeball it from the map screen. Yeah, we'll give ourselves a little bit of extra height. It is easier to eyeball it from the map screen than not. So as you can see, there it is. Now our burn marker's off, so we'll go ahead and redo that. And that's going to be to get into a stabilized orbit. Just stabilized enough to where we can be up here. 67 by 49 is a little off. Can we make that better? 55 by 61. That is much better. Okay, so again, we are using the map screen a little bit, but there is a reason for that, and that is because we really need it. Okay, cool. So we used up about half our fuel. We're going to need a 681, that's even better, 681 meter per second burn in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So there go our little guys. And of course, we are still connected to everything. We are controlling it from the mechanical brain because it's easier and safer and faster to do it that way than to not. And let's go ahead and do that. So we're now in space, technically. We're now actually in space. we are officially in space above Duna. Look at that. Oh, and there's Ike greeting us, saying hello again. Hello, Ike. It's nice to see you, little buddy. Ike's very happy. We should be generating power for our Kerbals as well. I do believe that they generate yeah, okay, so their electrical generation is good, but they still only have about a day's worth of food, water, and oxygen. But that's okay, because we don't need much in the way of food, water, oxygen to get to our destination. So we're going up, 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 up. And hopefully these little guys can burn fast enough without burning ooh. I'm not entirely sure where the quantum struts came from, but there they are. Why do we have quantum... Okay. Apparently we have quantum struts. I don't know where they came from, but we have quantum struts on there. It might have been something from the other ship, like some kind of bug from the other ship. So pretty. So pretty. Can't be staring too long, gotta get our burn, but it is, you know, it's something nice to look at, if nothing else, you know? This is beautiful. Scary beautiful, too, because, of course, Han, James, and gotta straighten this out. And Sleepy don't have the option of going back. They don't have the option of returning. I mean, we probably could re-land if we wanted to, but once that happens, we have to bring them, you know, more food, water, oxy, and we can't be doing that. So we have to actually get them into orbit and then get them to their ship. And then once that's done, we're gonna go. Alright. I think I'm having a little bit of trouble controlling it. But this is just an orbital burn. I don't need it to be perfect. You know, we don't need it to be perfect. We're doing pretty good though. It's not fighting too much because Kerbals only weigh about a kilo or two. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know really metrics in the form of weight, but they only weigh about 0.1 tons. I don't know why the sound keeps doing that back and forth. And orbit. And done. Alright, so what do we got? 61 by 54? Yeah! Our little dudes are in orbit! Yay! Look at that! Yay! They're in orbit. Okay, yay! Yay, so. Okay, there we go. Got the words right. So now what we have to do, now what we have to do is we have to rendezvous with our Duna return ship. And we are going to do that, but I am going to do that, of course, off camera as usual, because rendezvousing takes a little bit of time. But we did it. We're in roughly, I'm hoping roughly the same orbit as the other ship. If not, we can do a correction. We have 1,234 meters per second delta V. That's more than enough to do everything we need to get back to the other ship. We have tower generation. We do need food, water, oxy, but of course there are some in the other ship, and we have a whole day to muck about before they start going and dying. So, super bonus. That worked out really well. So I will see you guys when we are closer to the Duna return ship. Yeah, great flight. You guys are looking happy, aren't you? They're like, yeah, we're looking happy. Okay, cool. So I'll see you guys after the cut. And here we are, everybody. We finally made it. I say finally made it. It only took one burn. It only took one burn and then a few micro burns to get us this close. But we're here, and here is a good place to be. So let's go ahead and start getting everybody off. Let's leave the seat. And are we on the right Kerbal? Yep, we're on the right Kerbal. Excellent. So we're gonna go ahead and head down. Now this is this is loss of control is what this is. This is Han. Han, it's your turn to go, buddy. So Han's gonna head down. Now we have a lot of Delta V to work with. We have 5.0. I think I used a little bit of Sleepy's RCS. I may have used a little bit of Sleepy's RCS. I don't remember. No, I think I just jumped all three of them down. They should be fine. I was like, I think I used a little bit of Sleepy's RCS, but now that I think about it, maybe not. You know, time flies, time passes, and you're like, I wonder if. But no, for the most part, you're fine. All right, so we're gonna try not to hit that panel there. There you go. Now we have to find our way in, and I think our way in is right over, right over here, because it's on the opposite side of that big old dishy antenna we got there. And there it is. So again, this is mostly just going to be a ride for them. The controls are maintained by the large computer brain inside the ship. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and leave seat, and that's James. So James is going to leave his seat, and then he's going to RCS up really quick, and forward and down. Perfect. There you go. It's all so pretty again. Ike, of course, is nowhere to be found now because we did have to traverse the planet a couple of times. It only took, I think, about in-game time, it took about an hour, maybe two. For all the burns. Oh, there's Ike. You can see him peeking right over there. He's like, I'm watching what you're doing. So there's Ike there, just chillaxing out there. I like how Ike has been a constant companion for us on this particular trip. It's really interesting that no matter where we go, Ike is like somewhere around. When we reached the face, of course, Ike was nowhere to be found because the face is in such a location where the mountains tend to hide him. Yeah, the mountains tend to hide him. So even though he was there up in the sky, he was invisible to us. Alright, so we have one more guy. We have ourselves Sleepy, so we're going to go ahead and leave seat. Oh, Sleepy, what happened, buddy? Sleepy apparently had a little bit of an issue and was flung forth from his seat. But it looks like he's recovered and he's ready to go. Oh, okay, there it is. There's Ike. Yeah, we're slowly coming around and Ike is appearing to us. So we are in a highly eccentric, or not eccentric orbit. There's a difference between eccentricity and inclination. So we were in a highly inclined orbit, probably about 80 degrees, I think. And so because of that, it's we get to see Ike a lot more often than other people. And of course we are directly over the pole, so we get to see all that wonderful snow, which helps us of course see our vessel, because even though it's dark, it's still brighter than what it's up against. So super nice. Alright, one last go ahead. One last thingy. One last duty-ma-what's-its. One last... Whoa, don't... Whoa, Sleepy, come on. Sleepy's like, I'm tired. It's been a while since I had to make that joke. Alright, we did it! Now, because we can, and why not, we are going to deorbit this little guy. Because we can. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and deorbit because there's no reason to keep him up here. He did a really great job. Our rescue vehicle did a wonderful job, but we have the Delta V. It has self-control, and there's no reason to leave garbage out here if we don't have to. So we're going to go ahead and deorbit. Because we did get all the Kerbals off, right? We did indeed get all the Kerbals off. Alright, so this is going to be an obvious crash. As you can see, the periapsis height is now at -60. There's no way that will not be calculated. So goodbye, Duna Return, although it calls itself a rover, it is not good. Goodbye, Duna Return Rover. And what are you? Duna Return Debris. Really? Oh, that must be the docking clamp, or the separator clamp. Alright, excellent. So here it is. We got ourselves in orbit. We got James and Han and Sleepy all the way up here. We can still control the ship, of course, because it is all automated. And now what we need to do, another cut, I know. Ooh, pardon me, something in my throat. Alright, now what we need to do, excuse me, off camera, of course, is to set up a burn and get there, because I believe to return to, oops, wrong thing. To return, we need a protractor. To return to Duna, yeah, to return to Duna, we need like a phase angle of like -74, I think, or -70 something. Anyway, it's a -70 something, and I'm pretty sure we're not even there. So I have to do some time looping, but we have food, water, and oxygen for a very long time. So these guys are just going to chill in orbit for a little while I do that, and then instead of doing all the burn and all the everything and saying bye Duna and everything like that, Well, you know what? No, I'm actually gonna. I'm going to include the burn. Yeah, I'm going to include the burn. I'm just gonna wait till we get there. So, because it's gonna be a long burn. This is a very light engine, but I'm gonna include at least part of the burn. I think we'll figure it out. Either I will see you guys during the burn, or when the burn starts, or I'll see you guys over there at Kerbin. But we will get home soon. I promise. So I'll see you guys there. Alright everybody, the burn is actually complete. We just finished the burn. We're not going to have to burn again, which is great. We're going to come in about 12 million meters off of Kerbin, but I just wanted to show you guys Ike way over there in the sun and Duna as we exited. So we're just going to go ahead and exit at about 50 times speed, I think, just so we can watch everything fly out and be happy. And we can see James and Han and Sleepy all made it to, it was I believe 93 days. Yeah, see 94 days here. So it's about 94 days from the time we got to the ship to the time that we were able to burn out back into space. And there you go. There goes Duna, all happy and go lucky. And there goes Ike, who's been with us our entire trip. I mean, Ike has just been an icon. Ike has been an icon this entire time, and we'll just let him fly out there nice and gentle. And there they go, and there we go. And eventually we'll make it to the SOI. And there it is. So there was a first round trip to Duna. It's not done yet. Of course, we do have to make it back to Kerbin and land back on the planet. But I did want to show you guys that Duna was our, we did start. We're at Duna. We found the face, totally awesome. We landed a rescue ship, but return ship, not really. They weren't really stranded. We left them there on purpose with food, water, and oxygen to bring them another ship. And then, but we got them up into the ship here. It looks like a space station, honestly does. But we got them into the long-range ship here, and we're going to return them back to Kerbin. So, of course, I will see you guys when we get back to Kerbin, probably when we're in low orbit, because this thing can't return to Kerbin. As you know, this thing cannot return to Kerbin because it does not have any heat shields. And so because of that, we have to bring up something that can be used as a heat shield, or alternatively a ship to bring them back to Kerbin safely. And so, oh, we just left the SOI of Duna, so there it is. Bye-bye, Duna. We'll miss you. So yeah, but there's one more thing we have to do. We have to bring up a ship to bring these guys back down to Kerbin, and of course we have to bring them back down to Kerbin. And I think we may just leave this thing in orbit. It doesn't have any docking ports, so we can't refuel it, unfortunately. But maybe in the future, right? Maybe in the future. We'll use it as a space station. Who knows? I don't know. It's perfectly functional. It works perfectly. It's got power. It has the nuclear reactor on there, which is pointless without the fuel. But anyway, it's a wonderful little ship. It worked really, really well for us. Of course, James and Han and Sleepy are all very happy about it. But I will see you guys around Kerbin, probably when we're in low Kerbin orbit, because there's really no reason to show all the burn-in and everything else. Because we have more than enough Delta V to get there and to get in. So there's no threat, no nothing like that. We did really, 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 really well. So I'll see you guys when we're around Kerbin. Yay! So I'll see you guys there. Alright everyone, here we are in orbit around Kerbin. It's a nice sunrise, yeah! But we're not alone. Another ship has come to greet us. Now, no, we did not get lucky enough to get into some weird stabilized orbit with another ship. I was able to bring up another ship, the Welcome Home. A very basic 3-man capsule, but I figured that launching it automatically, which it is an automated launch, launching it automatically and bringing it up here is not that important. What is important, of course, is getting our Kerbins over to it, because that's going to be the ship that takes them home. So, of course, once again, Sleepy is going to IVA. Now, Sleepy is, of course, our pilot, so as a pilot, it is his job to, EVA, not IVA. IVA is the other one. It is his turn to head on over here first, and so he's just going to thrust his way over to the other ship. Now, they are at their closest approach, so they will be drifting slowly apart here in a moment. But luckily for us, we don't have to worry too much about that, because as we approach, they can be within they can be almost within like a kilometer, and the Kerbals can still reach them without even a semblance of even a teeny tiny problem. Now, I know where I put the antennas there, which means the doorway should be right over on, aha, right here, yeah. See, I remember. I remember these things. Oop, bump. I remember where I put like doors and stuff. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, that was interesting, but hey, he made it. And making it is good. So he's in. There it is. A sleepy Kerbin. All right. James Ibanez Kerbin. And he's going to go. Yes, everyone has the last name of Kerbin, even though it's not listed. Again, part of my rules when naming Kerbals is that you do not get the name Kerbin. Excuse me. You just get whatever name you request. And then, of course, the courage and stupidity levels are randomized, so I don't choose those either. So yeah, I do call everyone Kerbin. Of course, if you have like one name, it's easier, because you know how the Kerbal names are. They're made up of 2 different names. So of course, you have the first name and then Kerbin. And of course, if you have like a really long name, it can always be like a really long name Kerbin, but it's just they're Kerbals, so they're Kerbin. Irregardless, they're all one big happy scientific family. That's how we're gonna call that. All right, so there's James getting kind of laggy there a little bit, trying to get inside. Okay, now Han, however you want to pronounce that, probably Han. Han Sodan Kerman, which is fun to say, is on his way. Now, of course, we do have to reset because, again, the camera is not set to follow the Kerbals, as you can see. The Kerbals do their own thing regardless of where the camera's at, so when you thrust forward, it's always forward, which is great, except that you get things like Kerbals flying sideways. Cannot be helped. Cannot be helped. But what can be helped is if we turn on our lights and we head over here. Now, this pod only has enough food and oxygen and water for 3 Kerbals for 24 hours, but you know what? I don't think our Kerbals are going to stay up here much longer than just a few minutes, because we are going to bring them down. Now, of course, the other ship can be brought down too. Yes, it can be brought down too. We could probably burn it into the atmosphere just for funsies. But again, I kind of want to leave it up there, sort of a monument, sort of a great monument, the fact that we made it to Duna. We found the face of Duna. We brought our Kerbals back with the return ship. Everything, look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It really is. It's wonderful. Now, we are at local control, so we're going to hit 5 and turn off our antenna because we don't need it anymore. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to not bother with anything else. We're just going to go home. I think that'd be the best option right now, is just to go home. Now we are upwards of 100,000 meters rather than the normal 70 that I'm used to, but we should be able to come in and then slow ourselves down without too much problem. So let's go ahead and just slow down, and we'll leave the Duna return ship up there. It's sort of a little monument to how great all these little Kerbal guys were, and how the fact that they've had to switch ships like what, 3 times now. they went from, well, they were in the Rover when it first arrived, so they went from the Rover to the lander, from the lander to the return ship, and then from the return ship to the welcome home. Now, of course, with the welcome home, I wonder, I was thinking about it with bringing all this up, and I wonder if the ultimate design would be a ship that could go to Duna, drop off a landing craft. That landing craft could then take off again, or part of it could take off again at least. And at that point, what would end up happening is you could then bring it back up to the original ship, this, whatever this little guy was, and then bring it back down onto Kerbin, even with deadly reentry on. And I was thinking about that, I thought that might actually be a really interesting design to try to build. It'd be very difficult, though. It'd be very difficult, especially if you wanted to go further out than Duna, or if you wanted to land on a planetoid or planetary body that did not have atmosphere. That's the big one. That's the big one, because where atmosphere causes massive amounts of drag, trying to talk here, where atmosphere creates massive amounts of drag, which helps you slow down, non-atmospheric planetoids, of course, you are just constantly speeding up. You're constantly speeding up. You'll never slow down unless you use fuel. So it takes even more fuel to slow down at those locations. So it's one of those things that makes you kind of wonder. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to physical time accelerate, because now we're in the atmosphere, so it doesn't matter. We may end up on the dark side of the planet. Maybe not. We could even slow down even more right here if we really wanted to. I mean, we have a ton of fuel in here. The only thing is I do have this set to, yes, for maneuvering purposes, I dropped the thrust limiter down, but we could bring it in even lower if we wanted to. Just be like, I don't know where the KSC is from here. I've never tried to purposefully land at KSC. I mean, I've hit pretty close. The closest we've ever seen, of course, was when, I think it was Jebediah or one of our Kerbals. It was a Mark 1 pod, I remember that. And he landed just off the coast of the KSC. That was like the closest landing I have ever really had. I've never had a dead-on KSC landing randomly, and I don't really try to go for KSC landings either, so I'm not really too concerned about flying across and maybe getting lucky. More than anything, as I've said on several occasions, both while live streaming as well as doing Kerbal Space Adventures, is I want to land in a lake. I want to randomly land in a lake. If I can randomly land in a lake, I will be the happiest man alive, I swear. Just because it'd be funny, I'd plant a flag in that lake, or right next to that lake, be like, I landed in this lake randomly. That would be really awesome. Don't think it's going to happen, or at least the chances of it happening are very slim, but it'd be nice. One time, actually, the last time I was live streaming, I nearly randomly landed in, I think it's called the Kerb Amazon. Basically the really long river on Kerbin. Uh-oh, time to go, so we're going to go boom. And that should separate us slightly. Okay. Not well, mind you. Eek. Okay, don't burn off the parachute. There we go. Oop, there we go. Okay, so that didn't work out to our advantage. Unfortunately, the speed and everything did not help out. But ooh, that's very bright. Look at that, nice and bright and orange. All right, that worked out towards our advantage a little teeny tiny bit. I think that's Minmus over there. Yeah. I sometimes forget that. Oh, and the moon on that side. Hey, look, we're greeted by two orbital bodies. Why are we wobbly? Well, the wobbly shouldn't be a problem. Let's see our blade of coating taking a hit. Now that has a higher drag coefficient than we do, so even if I pop my parachute, we should not have to worry about exploding all over the ground or that running into us. I think it's going to come down in a slightly lower arc than we are, I hope. If it doesn't, it's going to smash right into our Kerbals, and that will be the end of all things. And that would make me sad. Not just sad, it would make me angry sad. I'd be very upset that that happened. All right, we're at 450. I'd like to slow down even further before we open our parachutes, but we will, absolutely will. I don't even have to look at our actual altitude to know that we are near actual dirt. I mean, we're probably up about 200, 300 meters from sea level, but we're not mountains, so we're in the highlands, but not that bad. And 250 should be fine. Open the parachute, and there it goes, and that'll slow us down even further. So yeah, as you can see, the welcome home probe, or as they call it, the trash is going to come in. It's going to be really scary looking, but it's going to fly. If it flies this far, it will fly underneath us. It won't even reach this far, I don't think. Yeah, it's basically coming straight down now. We'll just watch that come down and watch it explode, because that'll be fun. The last bit of debris from a long, long trip. And there it goes. It passed us now, so it's going to head down. And we're coming down as well, so our parachute should open just fine. We're not too heavy, so I don't have to worry about it like breaking the ship or anything. Although we are coming down rather quickly, which is kind of scary. And there's the parachute. Ooh, crunch. And the other two pieces? And wow, they bounced far. There's one. And there's the other. Alright, so a nice clean descent. And look at that. Look at that. Our parachute is open. And Sleepy and Hun and James are all coming down just fine. 9 meters per second. A little bit fast. Oh, you know what we can do? We can ditch some weight. I think that kind of slows us down to 8.4. But 8.4 is still good. I mean, the pod can stand an 8.4 meter crash. So we're 200, a nice little sounding charge there. We're 200 meters from the surface. I love using debris as sounding charges. It's really interesting to watch it fall, and you watch the numbers, and then as soon as it explodes, that's your sounding charge. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's 200 meters before it exploded, and that's how far we are from the dirt. And here we go. The last little bit of fluff, and 1, 2, 3, boom. And there it is. We've landed, everybody. Look at that. Sleepy, James, and Han Solon all made it back from a round trip to Duna, to the face of Duna. Totally wonderful. They made it back 100% alive and well. And with that, I would like to thank you all very much for joining me, 4KB Short, on this Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program with Kerbal Space Adventures. And you guys have yourself a wonderful time, and I will see you next video.